Today I want to talk about healing childhood traumas. When we were traumatized as children, we often normalized that trauma and shoved it away just to survive. We developed trust issues with the world because we genuinely believed that no one would ever show up for us. As a traumatized person, we may be slow to realize the source of our pain because as children, we had no frame of reference when that traumatic experience was occurring. So we came to see our reality as normal, especially if it was our parents or caregiver that was the source of our distress. Often, it's only much later in life when we're exposed to healthier families or we have children of our own that we see how damaging our childhood actually was. Unfortunately, the longer that we wait to do something and get help, the tougher it becomes to heal. As children, we bought into a lot of things that we were told about ourselves. And if those things were negative, such as you're worthless, you're lazy, stupid, ugly, you're a failure, or you'll never measure up, it can leave you both feeling unworthy of a better life and powerless to change. A common result of an abusive childhood is shame. And shame leads us to make psychic promises to ourselves in an attempt to alleviate the agony. So what do I mean by psychic promises? Well, things that we say like, I'll be just like my parents and they'll treat me better. Or if I shut down all my feelings, then I won't have to feel the pain. Or another example is, I'll always be nice so no one ever hurts me again. And these are some of the things that we tell ourselves as kids, and it carries over into our adult lives. So, break the shackles of the shame. Unlike remorse or guilt, shame isn't about feeling bad for what you've done, but feeling bad for who you are. Shame is the cancer of the spirit. And let me say that again because that's really, really important. Shame is the cancer of your spirit. It makes you feel worthless, unlovable, undeserving of happiness. So break these hidden contracts and keep them from destroying you. Identify the promises that you've made and give yourself permission to break them. And always remember that shame, it's a lie. You're worthy of love and respect. Stop the slow acid drip of regret. The constant repetitive, the if onlys and I should haves, the coulda, woulda, shouldas, right? Because they'll destroy you. They'll destroy your health. They'll destroy your peace of mind. And they're not worth it. And an important aspect of healing is to stop punishing yourself for past mistakes. Instead, forgive yourself, learn the right lesson, and resolve to act differently in the future. Resolve and quit the shoulda, woulda, couldas because they're very harmful to you. Reframe the past. To the extent that you can find value in past adversity, you can neutralize its harmful effects and foster your healing. You don't have the power to change the past, but you can control how you experience it now. Instead of responding in the same habitual way when disturbing incidents come to mind, pause, take a deep breath, and then reinterpret them. Ask yourself, how did that experience make me stronger? What important life lessons did that teach me? So, I've done a couple of videos telling my story. And, I've gotten some feedback, Renda, how horrible that was and what an awful childhood it was. But, in reality, as bad as it was, it shaped who I am today because I was able to take the things that happened and reframe them and use them as lessons to teach me how I didn't want to be, right? And it made me a stronger person because I dug deep and wanted to not be anything like my mother. And what I look back on today and see is that, even though I was diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder a long time ago, that was a survival mechanism. I had a lot of shame over that for a very long time. But what I realized once I integrated and once I became whole again is that was truly a gift, and it was God gave me that gift to survive the traumatic events of my childhood. So just remember that whatever you've experienced, you can even though it's as horrible as it was or is, you can learn something from it, and you can use that as a strength to grow. So continuing on, to overcome your past, it means you have to remember it. And some find that revisiting that past is just too painful. Others may be willing, but they find it impossible to sort out the jumble of childhood impressions. And that often remains it's a floating sense of anxiety. So you're always anxious because you can't really pinpoint that source of pain. And it becomes tough to eliminate when you can't pinpoint it. You always just have this uneasy feeling. Oftentimes, we try to seek answers from others rather than from within ourselves. Attempts to find in others what was missing from your life. So it's like Stephen Covey says, it's like living your life from the outside in versus the inside out. Because you're seeking from the outside, right? You become approval seeker. You go to any length to keep the peace or to earn love and respect of others, but all the while you're feeling empty in your soul, and that's because you're living your life from the outside in versus the inside out. So, and you're not valuing your own needs, and you're spending all your energy trying to gain the love and affection of other people, and it doesn't work. Okay, I know for a fact because I used to do it a lot. And so when you start learning to love and respect yourself, then that's when your soul starts feeling whole, and that's when you begin the healing. Oftentimes your emotions are closed off, and caring becomes too dangerous, so you feel. You numb yourself out, and this only damages your ability to build healthy relationships. But it also complicates later attempts to access the emotions that you need for healing. Again, I'm going to use my own experience. For the longest time, my emotions were shut down. And when I was asked, how do you feel? I really genuinely didn't know, because I had numbed out so much that I really didn't have feelings. I couldn't express them. And I know that many of you out there can relate to that, because you have experienced such traumatic events in your life that your feelings are just shut down. So somebody says, hey, how do you feel? And you can't give an answer. And there's no shame in that. But realize that healing is gonna help you identify your feelings. And so let me give you some steps on how to start to begin to heal from your childhood wounds. First of all, you need to release the pain. Research shows that people who write about their traumas heal faster from illnesses. They visit their doctors less often and have a stronger immune system. Set aside some time and write letters to everyone who has ever hurt you. No one needs to see these letters, so no holding back. No censoring yourself, no worrying about your spelling or grammar. Just let all the rage that's been festering inside, contaminating your system. You need to move from grief to gain. The emotional wounds of a devastating loss, like the loss of your childhood, are as real as a contusion or a broken bone. Mending them requires moving through 3 phases of grief. First, the shock and denial, followed by the anger, the fear and the sadness, and finally, understanding and acceptance. You can get stuck in stage 1, denying your pain or numbing your feelings, or you can move through that stage only to bog down in chronic depression, anger, or fear. In either case, the healing is incomplete. No matter how long ago the trauma occurred, it's crucial to allow yourself to feel the emotions that you may have suppressed. If you've lost a loved one, try writing that person a farewell letter, giving yourself permission to express everything that comes up, not just the sadness and the love, but the rage, the terror, and the emotions that you may feel for being wronged. And also know that closure can be elusive. Getting those who are responsible for doing the trauma to accept responsibility may or may not happen. They may no longer be alive, by the time that you're ready to address it, or oftentimes they'll never accept responsibility for it. I never really addressed any of my trauma with my perpetrators. In some cases, the perpetrator had passed away, and in the case of my mother, I knew that she would never admit it or accept responsibility for it, so I didn't even bother. I just healed it within myself. I did the journaling, I wrote the angry letters, and I processed all those feelings. Practice acceptance. Nothing perpetuates the impact of old hurts more than rehashing them in your mind. It's like watching the same movie over and over again in the hope that the ending's going to change. Bemoaning your fate does not help you heal the past. Peace comes from accepting what was for what it is and moving on. Cultivate some gratitude. Even better than acceptance is gratitude. No matter what happened in the past, remind yourself of the gifts and be thankful for them. You may even find that you're grateful for your troubles because of what you've learned from them. Again, the things that I went through in childhood, they were very traumatic, but I am actually thankful for some of them. Not all of them, but some of them. And even though I experienced what I did going through my other relationships, it was a necessary and needed gift that was given to me to heal my childhood wounds. So in relationships, we attract what we need to heal from our childhood. So look at it as a gift and not a curse. Break the habit of blame. Blaming your problems on other people's and events from your past means that you're not responsible for anything that happened to you. It protects you from self-doubt, and it brings you the cozy sympathy of others. But on the other hand, it leads to chronic resentment, which is damaging to your mental and physical health. Blame is not something that you heal. It's something you choose to stop doing. Ending the bitterness of blame doesn't necessarily mean that you're letting those who hurt you off the hook. You don't have to forgive them or even reconcile with them. It just simply means catching yourself in the act of blaming so you can break the self-destructive habit and take charge of your own well-being. So let me say that again. It simply means catching yourself in the act of blaming so that you can break the self-destructive habit and take charge of your own well-being. So you're in charge of your own life. And blame is resentment, right? And so who does resentment hurt? Because you haven't said it to the other person, resentment only hurts yourself. So you can't go back and change what happened, but you can choose to move forward and learn from it. Find some inner peace. No matter how traumatic your past has been, you can always find a peaceful place inside within you. You can tap into that source. You can stop the stress from building up. You can allow your mind to clear for new solutions. There are countless ways to create calm. Practice yoga, meditation. Did this morning, went for a walk in nature. Take a hot bath. Go get a massage. Practice breathing. Remember some pleasant memories, and so on. And the list is endless. You know, so share in the comments of this video. Share some things that you do to create your calm. In addition, when disturbing thoughts about the past begin to arise, distract yourself. Get up and do something different. It's called a pattern interruption. Just when the disturbing thought creeps in, do a pattern interruption. Get up, change what you're doing. Focus. That's one thing that you can do. And then when you're in the midst of your healing and you're working with a qualified therapist, or you've got somebody there to help you, focus on that physical sensation that comes up. Focus on breathing in and out. Mentally recite a word such as peace or calm or happiness. Place your hand on a nearby object and focus on the textures that you feel. So these are some things that when you become triggered that you can do. I like really soft, fuzzy things. So when I get triggered, I usually have soft, fuzzy things. Either I'm wearing them or they're close by, and I'm a texture kind of person. So I like the soft textures. Or I will go. There's a meditation that you can find it on YouTube, and it creates just a calm place that you can go within yourself. So practice that. Practice meditation. Create a satisfying future. As the old saying goes, living well is the best revenge. A great way to make peace with your past is to become the person that you've always wanted to be. The grip of old patterns and perceptions may be so strong that you feel like you're a helpless victim, but in fact, you are the author of your own life. And you can start a new chapter anytime that you choose. Take some time and visualize your life as you want it. Then spell it out in writing. So write it down. Visualize your life and write it down. A day or two later, go back and read it. What are your goals for this year? What can you achieve? What steps can you take now to start creating this new life? You can create a life that's so fulfilling and rich, with meaning and purpose, that the pain of the past loses its sting. So here's the thing, is that although it's painful, although it's daunting, it can be done. I'm living proof that you can heal from some of the worst traumas. It's just what you put your mind to, because what we think we create, and we put it out into the universe. We want to create happiness. We want to create a peaceful life. It's not an easy journey, but I encourage you to realize that you're worth it, and you can do anything that you put your mind to. Take care. If you guys have any questions, you can email me.